Hello everybody, this is Spring and Web What Ifs back here with part 4 of What If Deku was the ultimate werewolf. Okay, so last time we left off with Deku leaving the Hasbin Hotel Hell universe to go to a new dimension. And now we go to Izuku in a new dimension. So, he wakes up in a forest as he looks around and then pulls out his phone and he goes to his Google Maps and he then when he looks at it he doesn't see any of like the actual landmarks, and it says like no service. So as then he says, wrong universe again, most likely must be another wrong universe, as he puts his phone away and he starts searching through his forest as he comes across a house. He knocks on it as this woman with grey hair comes out. With this also, outside the house is this weird door with a lot of pipes connected to it. As the old woman looks at him, saying, "Hello," as she sees his ears, as she says, "Human?" As then she out there says, "Loose." And if you can't tell, this is the Owl House universe. If you haven't watched it, I'd suggest go watching it before you come to this video. So, then Luce appears and looks and asks Ida what she wants, as she then says that there appears to be another human here. As she looks at him, as Izuku then says, "What do you mean by another human here?" As Ida scopes him out and sees tries to get to know Izuku, as she relatively get as she uses some glyphs, since this is season 2. As then a couple minutes go by as Izuku tells the whole thing about him being a werewolf, him looking for a way to get back to his world. As then he asks about these glyphs here, and yeah, as then he takes off his jacket, showing the amount of glyphs that he has on his body. And yeah, the fire one being the exact same one as the one from that universe. As Izuku says, well, that's strange. As then, yeah. So a couple days go by, and Izuku, Luz, Ida, have gotten to know each other, including King. And yeah, by the end of the week, Izuku has went out for an exploration, and he went exploring as he came across this cave, really far out from Bonesborough. As he goes in it, as when he goes in it, he sees a weird looking tree that he's never seen before. As yeah, he takes a picture of it and goes back to the owl house. As he then shows Ida, Luz, and that the tree, as Ida then says, "That's a palistrom tree. How'd you just stumble across it?" As he says, "I have a weird thing about finding strange things in different universes." As yeah, then Izuku takes him back to it as they harvest the tree. As yeah, as Ida gives him a log of the wood and then sells the rest. This going for top money. As then she says that you have to carve a shape into it. As then Izuku that night goes to sleep, and in his dream he sees this Hydra staring right at him, saying in a deep voice, "Carve us, and we can make you strong." As then he starts glitching, as then this shows up, as it's saying, "No, carve us, and we can make you strong." As then it glitches one more time, and this being shows up, saying, "Carve me." As then Izuku says to as Izuku this Izuku saying something, as this making all three of the beings glitch into one existence. As he then says, "How about I carve all of you into one?" As they then say, "Good choice." As then Izuku wakes up. As Izuku goes downstairs, this being like around 12, as Izuku says, I'm gonna need a chisel and a hammer." And Izuku starts carving away and carving away. This making a staff. As he comes out of his room with this. As then Ida says, "That was quick." As Izuku says, "Well, I had a clear image of what I wanted it to look like in my head." As then it starts to speak. "Good. This is very impressive for a newcomer." As then Ida says, "Did your staff just speak?" As it then speaks back, "Yes. He is one of the first, well, people that we have found worthy of our power. He seems to already have an ungodly amount of power inside of him, but he seems like he's missing a few components." As Izuku then feels two more glyphs appear on his body. As then as he takes his jacket off and it reveals the 16 and 17, this being the last two glyphs that he needs. As then, as Izuku then says, "That's the spiritual and nightmare glyph." As then the staff starts speaking again. "Yes, those were the last two powers that you need to awaken, yes." As Izuku says, "Yes." As then the staff speaks back to him. "Well, we decided to unlock it early for you. We thought that you might need an extra power boost for your future." As then Izuku goes outside to test his new powers. As Izuku starts training with all of them, starting to get it with all of his powers, starting to get a better control of every single one of them, mastering about most of them. This being the fire, water, earth, and lightning, and air. He's mastered null, and yeah. Then the other ones he just needs to practice with a little bit more, and he's got it down. As then a month goes by, Izuku has met Amity by this time. He's met Willow, Gus, like all Luz's friends, and they've all become quite close. And Izuku has told them about like why he's here, how he got here, and that he's actually a werewolf. Because he didn't. If I mentioned that he did mention it before this, he didn't. As in, they ask if he can show them like his tail or ears. As Izuku then says, "Sure." As he shows them his tail and ears. As they ask if the red tips of his tail and his ears are natural, as he replies back with yes. As then he puts them away, and then yeah, at this point his mana reserves have already unlocked, and yeah, well, his dimensional mana reserves have already recovered. As then he leaves to go to a new dimension. As he says goodbye and says that he will miss them. As he gives them all a gift. This being a beacon that will alert him if they ever need his help. As yeah, so we now skip to when Izuku's going through the portal. As Izuku is going through it, and he's thinking, "Let this be the one that let me go home, please, please, please." As when he gets through the portal completely, all he sees is darkness. And then this one glimmer of light, this red light, appears, and as he runs towards it, it being like it's getting further away, but also closer. As then he finally gets to it and he touches it. As then this whole graveyard, tombstones, and with a forest connected to it, with this being like a whole dark area. As then this one being appears.
Hello there, young Izuku Leiken.
As then Izuku looks behind him and sees, as this being shows up, saying, as he continues to say,
Hello there. My name is Trigor.
as then out of the blue, a blue, one of these shows up.
Hello, I am Trivor.
As then Izuku talks with them, asking like, what's he doing here and who are they? As they in unison say,
We are the twin demon lords of this dimension. We could sense your power from far away across universes, and we would like to challenge you to a duel.
as Izuku says, what do you mean by challenge you to a duel? As they then say, um, blech.
We would like to test your strength. We think you might be a good candidate for our power.
As then Izuku's staff pops out of nowhere, and the staff starts speaking, saying,
What do you mean you want to test him?
as then the two spirits talk back, saying,
We just said, we think he might be a good candidate for being the next Demon Lord of this universe, or any of his choosing.
as then the staff comes back saying, as his staff and says,
Well, he agrees.
as then Izuku then pops out, starts speaking, saying, what do you mean I agree? As then his staff tells him,
This might be a good chance for you to test out our strength, combined with yours.
As Izuku then just agrees to it, and they fight. Izuku fights this blue one first. As Izuku defeats him in the matter of, let's say, 15 minutes. As then his color changes as he turns this pinkish color, still having the blue hues in it. As then he then says,
Congratulations, you have beaten me.
as then he says,
Now it's time for my brother.
as then he starts fighting Trigor. As then Izuku beats him in the matter of 20 minutes since he's the stronger brother. As then his color changes to a red purplish color. Like this, being like a whole mixture. As then they say in unison,
Congratulations, you are worthy of having an ungodly amount of power in you. This will take at least a month for your body to adapt to our power.
as then they transform into these eyes his being his eye being purple and blue, as he puts that in his left arm. As Trivor is this pink and grey eye, as he puts that in his right arm. As then Izuku falls over and sleeps. As he's in his dreams, Izuku is conversing with Trigor and Trivor, as well as the two Hydras and that snake dragon thing, or snake demon. As they're all conversing inside Izuku's body, them talking about how much power he's going to be having by the end of this transformation. Well, this will progress for his body to adapt. As then Izuku asks like how strong that he would be. As then they say that he'll be as strong as they go through his memories and say that you'll be stronger than the goddess Irene of your universe by tenfold. As Izuku's eyes widen in shock. As yeah, then the month goes by and Izuku's mana recharges are full and his body has gone through the complete transformation. He looks the exact same as he does now, but he's a little bit more toned. And yeah, as then he opens a portal to a to another portal. As then he goes through it. And he goes to his phone and checks Google Maps, and he actually has server this time. As then he says, "Yes, I finally made it back to my dimension." As then Izuku goes back to his house and sees what was it? And sees Caitlin, Travis, Zane, Kawaii-chan, Gareth, Lucinda, Lawrence, and Ghost, like all them guys, and also so Daniel, Rylan, Blaze, like all those guys are there. As Yuki goes into his house, well, no, they're still in the neighborhood that they were in season 3. As they see Izuku pull up on the neighborhood, as then they all go to his house and ask where was he and what happened. As Izuku then tells them how he's gone through dimensions to get back here, telling them about each dimension and saying what about each feeling that he learned. And as then they tell him that Ian, as then Izuku says, Ian, as then his eyes widen, as in you mean the Ian that controlled my brother? As then they said yes. As then his eyes flare, as then they go, flare up to his ultimate eyes, and then go back to his regular eyes. As then he gets so angry that he punches the wall. They're shattering it. As then he uses telekinesis to put it back together. As they're all shocked by this. As Izuku then says, where is he? I'm gonna kill him. As they're all shocked by this statement. As they even say that they don't know where he is. As then Izuku says to Blaze, Rylan, Donnie, and that have you tried to use your nose and hearing? As then they say they have, but it didn't work. As then Izuku says, I think I might know how to find him. As then Izuku brings out his ears and his tail. As then his eyes flare up red. As then two eyes open up from his hands. As then his right hand gets coated in this black red substance. As then his right hand gets coated in this purple black substance. with the eye sockets being all grayed out except for the slit. As Lucinda then chimes in saying, "Are those?" As then she says it can't be. As Yuzuki then says, "They're demons." As she's shocked. As Yuzuki tells them, "Find my mother and father now." As in their deep demonic voices saying,
Sure, always.
as they search and search, and they track them down to an abandoned warehouse. As Yuki says, "I know where they are." As Izuku just tells them to follow him. As they follow him, and yeah. As something that I should mention, Zane. Um, I'm pretty sure I mentioned that he has wind manipulation. Yeah, and then let's get to where they arrive at the abandoned thing. As Izuku punches in the wall, as he sees Ian on a throne with Aphmau next to him, being controlled by actually no, not being controlled by a forever potion, being chained up, as above him is Aaron, having being impaled through his arms and his legs, being chained up, as Izuku is enraged by this. As then Ian sees them and looks up and says, "You must be Izuku. Hi, I'm..." As then Izuku just teleports, choking Ian, pulling him up. As then he throws him to the ground. As then Izuku takes down his parents and lets them free. As then out of the blue, a portal opens. This being a purple black portal with Ava coming in, with being followed by Luna and Octavia, with them seeing Izuku, them rushing towards him, pouncing into a hug. As Izuku asks, "What are they doing here?" And they said that they came to see him. As Eva then says that she said that she misses him, that she missed him after he left, and that she wanted to be with him. As then um Izuki asked Octavia and Luna why they're here, and as they said they enjoyed him being around, them like hanging out. As Izuku then tells them that they shouldn't be here right now. As then Ian gets up, as then he brings out his ears, but then his eyes flare up, being this bluish color, kind of like Ava's Ultima's eyes, but they're weird, like they're this distorted blue. As Izuku then says, brings out his ears and tail again, and says, "What the hell are you? You're a wolf, a werewolf?" And as Izuku looks down into his soul and sees Aaron, his father's ultima, his Aaron, part of Aaron's ultima curse inside of him. As Izuku says, "You're an ultima? How?" As Ian says, "Well, a little bit of experimenting here, a little bit of experimenting there. I stole part of your father's curse." As then he shows his shoulder, having half of the wolf insignia on it. This being green for greed, because he's greedy for power. As then, yeah. As then Ian and Izuku start fighting. as everybody's just watching from the sidelines as Aaron and Afma wake up, seeing Izuku fighting Ian with Izuku getting most of the punches in, but then for some reason Ian overpowers Izuku, and Izuku end up fa- um being knocked to the ground, having a giant slash rune over his chest. As then Izuku asks Trivor how we can upgrade him. As then Trivor says, if you gouge out your heart and draw a what's it called, a with Izuku drawing a circle with a star in it, with him then slamming his heart down in it, saying evolve. As then he using his left hand for this, saying with Trivor saying that it has to be your left hand for it to evolve in for you for me, and you have to use your right hand for Tricor. If I get the names mixed up, I'm sorry. It's just they're very similar names, and I will get most likely get confused. As then tri Tricor, which is the right left-handed one, just hit the black stuff goes up more up his arm more, ending up like this. And if you can also see the start of this some of the eye sockets start to appear, with him only having 4 fingers, as two of his fingers merge into one, as then he feels the power that's coming off of it, as then he says what can he do now, as then Trevor says you're gonna be much more stronger now, as then Izuku just throws one punch, this sending a gust of air straight at Ian, with Izuku then bringing out the Trivor arm, him getting even more punches in, with his eyes flaring up and going with the white parts of his eyes going fully black, looking like this. As before, the black parts of the eyes were white, but now they're black. And he starts wailing on Ian, as then he ends up biting a chunk out of Ian's arm, as Ian flees, saying, "This won't be the last time you see me." As Izuku says, "I count on it." As then Izuku goes back to his parents and hugs them, saying how he missed them, saying like why did he send him to another dimension, as they say it was to keep you safe, but then they ask, how the hell did you get back? As then Izuku takes off his jacket, them seeing all the glyphs that are on his body, him having all 17 of them, with them asking, how do you have all 17 glyphs? As then he brings out his staff, as then his staff starts to speak.
It's because of us. We awakened the last 2 that he needed, and he awoken the rest by himself on his journey to get back to here.
As they then say, why the hell do you have a talking staff? And then Lucinda then pops in saying, where can I get one? As Yuki says, you're going to need to go to a different dimension to get this certain kind of wood to turn into a certain kind of staff that you have to carve yourself. As she says, can you take me? As Yuki says, not anytime soon. As Izuki asks Ava how Scott and Styles doing, as she then says they're doing pretty good. As yeah, um, then we skip a week later. Izuku can feel Ian's presence as he just rushes out of the house. With this being like a family movie night, being Ava, Luna, and Octavia are there. They're staying at their house, and Also, the house got a few modifications so they could have a child. So there's more rooms, and it's now got a basement, which is where Izuku's room is. As yeah, as when I said last part when he was gonna have a harem, I didn't say that he was gonna be with having a harem the whole time. As then Izuku tells Luna and Octavia that when he was in the when he was in the Hazmo Hell universe, that he was going through some stuff since he was he each dimension made him unlock a certain emotion. With them saying, "What do you mean by unlock a certain emotion?" As Izuku says, "There I was embracing anger, um, and boldness." As they ask, "What do you mean by boldness?" As he then says that it made me more bolder there, saying that it made me do things that I regret doing. As Luna then speaks up, saying, "Even you, so you mean you regret killing all those people from that world's Earth, my universe's Earth?" As Yuka then says, "Yes, yes." As um Luna and Octavia go back to the Hasbin Hotel universe. Them being sad at statement, as Izuku says to Ava that the only person that he wants to be with is her. As now, let's go back to when Izuku senses Ian's presence. As Izuku rushes towards where he senses Ian, and when he gets there, Ian's arm has completely healed, and he seems to be much stronger. As then he takes off his jacket to reveal that um the full curse mark has appeared. Um, this being completely green. As then Izuku and Ian start fighting again. As then Trivor speaks up saying that you need to evolve me and you might be able to beat him this time. As then he does the same thing, ripping out his heart, drawing a circle with a star in it, and smashing his heart down into it. Just evolving his arm into this, with part of his eye being pink. Now, being the rest of the socket being grayed out. As he starts fighting with Ian, him getting more of an advantage, but then Ian gets this sudden power boost, and as he says, this would be the powers of a forever potion. As he then punches Izuku, this knocking Izuku out. But well, not he's knocking him out, but not well, yeah, knocking him out for a very short time. As Izuku gets back up, says, I'm not finished yet." As Izuku gets back up, rushes Ian, and then punches him across the face. This making Ian retreat, with Izuku going back to his house explaining what happened. As yeah, that's gonna be where I leave this part off. So, hopefully you enjoyed. So like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day, good night, or good evening, or for whatever time you are in. And thanks for watching. I know, also some disclaimers. I'm sorry that I haven't posted in a while. I'm currently on school break, and I'll be going back to school very shortly, so expect me to go back to my usual upload times. So, goodbye, and hopefully you enjoyed.